shot. It's showtime. Let's see what the great Kakarot can do.
Hey, you want me? You got me.
Over 9.
Vegeta, what does the scouter say about his power level?
It's over 9,000!
What, 9,000? There's no way that can be right. Could it?
I think it's right. After all, I was trained in the art of Kaioken.
To be clear, my target is only 8,000. So 8,000 yen as of yesterday for Metaplanet. And this won't be our only focus today. We got a lot to talk about. But 1593. So that still gives it a little bit of upside, don't you think? And we had a beautiful bounce on Metaplanet yesterday. Again, just a massive, this thing was down to, if you were in Japan, you were able to buy this at 1241, 1242, right around there yesterday, before just simply skyrocketing higher. And that's a sign of a lot of things to come. So we're going to talk about the 12-day war being over. 12 days. Who could have called that short war? Oh yeah, me. We're going to talk about how the Fed is going to start lowering rates soon. Why? Well, because of some other stuff that we already knew. How tariffs haven't really come to fruition, right? Like the end of the world because of tariffs. That didn't happen. We've got the world being a safer place, right? Arguably. Wiping out Iran's nuclear facilities and 70% plus of their ballistic missile systems in order to be able to make it to where the Middle East is a little safer and less threatened by this dictatorship that wants to kill the West and everybody associated or even leaning towards it, I think makes things a little bit safer. We even have NATO thanking President Trump for his decisive action in making the Middle East safer. Wow. Oil's not going to 120 or 130, guys. I guess I'm smarter than JP Morgan. Let's pull that up real quick here. So after the war came to an end, we went again from a breakout. This looked like a breakout, but it was a fake out. And I feel bad for all the oil doomers that thought the world was coming to an end, because we have this downtrend line that started in 2022 in oil that just continued to be resistance. They were so excited. They had a week where it was above it, and then the next week it just fucked them. As oil dropped from $77 a barrel when everybody was excited that the world was going to come to an end, down to 64. Just a horrific drop, and continuing really what I think is going to be a drop all the way into the 50s, maybe even the 40s per barrel. How painful would that be for the bulls in oil? They probably wouldn't like that much at all. And we're going to be talking about a lot more too. Again, the Strait of Hormuz did not close. Who could have called that? China needs the oil. China said, no, don't close the Strait of Hormuz. And the Iranians are celebrating their victory of losing their entire nuclear program. 70% of their ballistic missile systems. Like their infrastructure for propaganda, their infrastructure for their intelligence agencies. They've lost basically everything. I don't know that we're going to see the Iranian people free. That part kind of makes me sad, but honestly, it's probably the right decision for now. Bitcoin, we've got miners. We got miners taking off. We'll look at that. We've got CleanSpark hitting 50 exahash, the highest exahash sustained rate of any Bitcoin miner on the planet. And that's probably why it was up 13.45% yesterday and 1.4% in pre-market today. We've got Bitcoin. If you look in the bottom corner, it's bouncing straight up, just like we talked about how it was going to do, right off the levels that we talked about it was going to do. And again, don't forget the Genius Act, guys. That's still happening. I know people, I was gone for a day. and the Bitcoin treasuries were down for a whole day. And I know there is a lot of panicking, but don't be panicking. I think it's going to be okay. All right. We got CNN Fear and Greed Index, barely in greed territory, which gives us a lot of room to run. And we've got virtually nothing for economic data today. New home sales, nobody gives a shit. We're also going to talk about the Fed. Very important to talk about the Fed and just how Powell's starting to switch dovish. But before we go there, let's say hello to chat. We got a lot of chat in here already today. Dario, Oak, Killer B, good morning. You guys are the early bird special. Jarrett Bell, good morning. Thankful that you're you're in a safer Israel today. Yes, sir. Green Bean, SWC buy day. I think so. SWC is down 27% in the UK markets. We'll probably see a little bit of that in the US markets too. US markets closed at about 558. What are we seeing we're seeing 354 in the UK right now, the equivalent. So yeah, we could see another drop. There's actually a gap, guys, that goes down to like the upper or lower 3 range, upper 2s. That would be insane to hit that. I don't think we're going to. But if it did, I would probably sell a little more Metaplanet if we start going up and buy some of that dip or look towards other things that don't have as high of a level of return. But I don't even know if we can do that. That's probably going to be tough to do because the American markets are stronger. They're stronger with a lot of things. They're stronger with Coincilium. They're stronger with the Smarter Web Company. They're stronger with Metaplanet. They're just stronger. Lots of excitement in the USA in regard to Bitcoin treasuries because these people are smart and they're catching on. The rest of the world will eventually. So much good data that we're going to be looking at, guys, in regard to the Bitcoin front. I might even skip, we're not going to go straight into Bitcoin. We're going to do something else. We're going to cheat a little bit. We're going to look at some data for free for my buddy Tom Lee that I probably shouldn't be sharing, but he hasn't yelled at me yet for it. And he is a good dude, and I do promote his channel a lot. So we're probably going to look at this real quickly here. We're going to look at his thoughts on tariffs, tax, and Jerome Powell, and then we'll go from there, okay? So let's start off with that and then proceed ahead. Bernstein reiterates outperform on coin, raises price target to 510. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. The only problem I have with Coinbase is that it's just already such a huge market cap. Same problem I have with Robinhood, even though I've loved to see the gains coming in for everybody there. Robinhood is definitely the tier 1 player. Anyway, let's listen to Tom Lee and see what he has to say. Okay, here we go. Oh, sorry about that.
Good evening, FS Insight family and community. Today is Tuesday, June 24th, and this is our Macro Minute. As you know, this week started off strongly as investors were de-risking last week, and on Monday, we're buying the invasion and stocks rallied 1%. Today, Fed Chair Powell was speaking before the House Financial Services Committee, and it was widely watched, but as you can see, his testimony further added to positive momentum in stocks. And part of this is a Fed switcheroo. And of course, the strength in the morning was the ceasefire between Israel and Iran. But here's the thing. I think the key statement from today's testimony was this. He says that if it wasn't for the higher expectations of inflation this year from tariffs, we would have continued cutting rates. That's a big statement. And in fact, I think the most interesting question came from a congressman who said, often what you have on the shelf today may have been imported 2 or 3 months ago. So it's your understanding there may be impacts down the road. And Powell said, we do expect to show up tariff inflation and to show up more. To be honest, we just don't know how much of it's going to be passed through to consumers. I think that's a bit of backpedaling there, and I think that had a dovish interpretation. But here's something that I want to really emphasize. I don't think tariffs create inflation. Tariffs are actually a tax. So I want to give you a thought exercise. Let's say the US government wanted to raise $200 billion in tax revenues, and that's roughly what we're seeing currently with the tariffs. And they have 2 ways to do it. They can raise taxes directly by $200 billion or companies can raise prices by 200 billion, but the government will tax that amount. So in other words, they're still going to get their 200 billion, but it's either from taxes directly or they just have companies raise the prices. Well, think about it this way. There's no way the Fed would view a tax increase of 200 billion as inflation, because they would argue this is a risk to consumer spending, and actually they'd be dovish.
He's right.
But here's the thing. If the companies are raising $200 billion and then giving the money to the government, that's also not inflation. They would actually view that as a risk to consumer spending, and they'd be
Also
dovish
right.
biased. So I hope you understand my point. If you have to raise prices because of tariffs, I don't think that is economically inflation, because
It's not inflation. It's not inflation. And so many people do not get this. It actually is slowing an economy, which means you want to provide greater liquidity. He's 100% right. This is the truth. This isn't a narrative. This is the truth. Listen.
it's paid right to the government. And that's why I'm wondering, why does the Fed view tariffs as a risk to inflation?
Because they're stupid and politically biased.
It doesn't make sense, because again, these are payments made to the government. And in fact, the bond market agrees. As you can see, if you look at the one-year inflation forwards, they're at 2.38%.
Isn't that just the dumbest? Look at this. Liberation Tariff Day, full panic mode, reality sets in. You got a Bart Simpson.
Lower than they were at the start of the year. The bond market doesn't see any inflation from tariffs. But what is happening is Fed chair keeps inflation rates, interest rates high, is that he knows that it's actually hurting housing.
In the Fed. No purpose.
So essentially, current
In fact, Jerome Powell is making the case for ending the Fed. He just doesn't realize that yet.
rates are trying to cause housing prices to fall. And as you know, housing is already in its own down cycle. I don't think it needs the Fed to be cutting rates, as you can see, and shelter prices are going down year over year. So Fed Chair Powell wasn't the only thing today. There was a conference board consumer inflation or consumer confidence, but the 1 year inflation ahead actually fell
Again, look at the panic level of increase here, guys, and then look at reality setting in.
again. So you've gone from 6% down to 4.9% in just 2 months. So I think consumers, again, I don't think see tariffs as inflationary. Fed Chair
I'm going to go back to that chart because you didn't highlight something you should have, Tommy. By the way, your lighting is horrible, Tom. You look like you gained like 20 years, which is a lot. Anyway, so if you look over here, this is 2022. These were also 1 year ahead inflation expectations, which were categorically wrong. And if you remember, at the end of 2022, that was like when everybody was the bearish, right? They were deep in the bear markets. They like everybody was bearish, and I was buying long calls on Tesla, long calls on Meta, and then heading into March, I was buying long calls on Palantir, right, and a bunch of other things, and I made a ton of money off of, including Robinhood, 1,800% returns in the next year plus. So everybody's super bearish. Reality kicks in, turns into a really bullish phase where people made a lot of money. I made over 600%. I want to say it was 650. It's been a while since I looked at the number, though. But I had a really good year in 2023 because of what had happened. 2024, not so much. I only made like 56% returns. I apologize to everybody about that one. This year, not so good so far. But yeah, picking up. I have no complaints. I want 200 to 300% this year. So I just want to be clear. My expectations are very high for this year. So that's why I say that. But again, now we're seeing that same kind of thing, even at I would argue as an accelerated pace, maybe even more so in regard to inflation and a flattening, and just really setting expectations that rates have to come down. We're going to be looking at some data points here that show that 6 rate cuts in 2026. I actually think some of those will be pulled over into 2025. But yeah, it's beautiful stuff. This is good stuff. This is global liquidity increasing stuff. And we're going to talk about tariffs too, because I really want to hone in on that. If he doesn't do a good job here, we'll go over that.
again, I don't think see
Not that Tom doesn't do a great job. He's fucking amazing. I mean, if he doesn't cover it.
tariffs as inflationary. Fed Chair Powell speaks again tomorrow, but this time to the Senate. And on Friday is the University of Michigan inflation and May core PCE. But let's remind ourselves, this is the most hated V-shaped rally hedge funds are actually increasing their short position.
Ouch.
It's now the
Ouch.
highest level since the start of 2024.
Oh, it's going to be
And we
painful.
know what usually happens when
Yeah, he's totally hitting the head on the nail right here. So having these guys, having hedgies lean into this is just going to destroy them. And I want to point out that we're only barely in greed territory, and we've looked at this before, guys. Let's just look at it again. Oh, not it. Let's look at it again. We'll pull it over here, right over here. We'll look at fear and greed going back a ways. And I just want to reiterate this. We're over here, right? I look at that as the equivalent of being in early, April-ish of 2023, which was a beautiful time, right? That's, again, 650% returns that year. I loved it. But I look at it as this right here is this over here, right? And look at what happened afterwards. Again, beginning of May, all the way through, didn't really even start to drop until the end of July, August timeframe. So people were still making tons of money up until early August. And so I look at it as something similar to that. Maybe even more prolonged, though. Maybe not as violent to the upside and hanging out here in extreme greed for like ever. Maybe not that. But I look at months. Again, May, June, July. That was 3 months of greed to extreme greed territory. Okay. We didn't even drop out, guys. We didn't drop out of greed until the middle of August. So, and this time we're starting later. So again, September, October, this is like perfectly lining up with what a normal Bitcoin cycle would be. And I know people are going to say, guys, this isn't the same. We're never going to have a Bitcoin cycle again. There will be tons of that at the top when I'm cashing in my chips. And here's the thing. I think it'll be a beautiful, beautiful thing because I think we'll have made a shit ton of money in that time. And I think we'll have melted up because of Bitcoin treasuries. So very excited about all that. Again, economic data, guys, we don't have much today. So we'll probably have an early cutoff today, maybe just after opening bell. I do think that today, the Smarter Web Company and like Coincilium and maybe a handful of others, it looks like European markets are down for these. So this might be a last-ditch effort for you guys to be able to buy these things on the dippity dip. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But let's jump back over. We're going to cover Bitcoin. We'll jump into all the other things. We got to hit Tesla because I didn't do that last time. So let's look here. So breaking, Hong Kong approves first mainland broker to buy and sell Bitcoin and crypto. China bending the knee. This will unlock billions. They kind of have to do this. They're desperate right now. After losing Iran, guys, Iran was their great destroyer of the Middle East. That would sow chaos while they invaded Taiwan. Now they just realized that they have absolutely no power in the Middle East. They thought they would have Russia being able to really ramp things up in Ukraine in order to be able to allow for the invasion of Taiwan. Neither of these things are holding true. China is very weak, and we continue to get reports that Xi Jinping is being quietly replaced. This is a chart, guys, right here from Plan B. Some people don't like Plan B because, again, his model didn't work so good last cycle because the Fed raised rates at the most aggressive rate in history. But I do think he's brilliant, and I do think what he has to say here is right, and this is something we have to touch on. He said Bitcoin is so much more than just technology adoption. Note that the main reason why Bitcoin was made is debasement, i.e. fiat money printing by central banks, resulting in hyperinflation and fiat money debasement. Hyperinflation or just inflation, period, okay? But it's our tool to get away from that. And anybody that's embraced this has gotten rich, right? I've gotten rich because of it. I've gotten rich because of this, Tesla, and a bunch of other things. But this is one of the key plays that will make you rich in the years ahead. And why do I say that? Adoption of technology in the U.S. between 1900 to present. So you can see what happens with new technologies, how they basically go parabolic. And the S curve, if you guys don't know what an S curve is, please spend some fucking time and figure out what one is, okay? Because you need to know that. But the S curve hasn't even started yet. So I do agree with people like Adam Back talking about how this time will be different, but I also think this time will be different because we'll have such an explosion higher in Bitcoin that we'll probably just have a little bit of a bear market for people to retrace into other investments. We'll basically have sector rotations, right? I don't think, though, that we're going to have some major bear market. Maybe that thesis changes. But again, to me, like to most people, they would be like, oh my God, it's Bitcoin's dropped 55%. That's what I think we could do this time, right? That to them, that would just be insane because that's like a depression level event to these people because they don't know any better. But to us, to anybody who's been in this market since 2017 or earlier, they know 55% is like a Sunday. That's nothing, man. I saw my account in a period of like 30 plus days in March in the pandemic. That my account dropped like 40%. And I was in some things that were leveraged. So some of it dropped 60% in like 6 weeks. So you'll know true. And that was after already just being crushed for like a year and a half. So some of us know real pain. Some of us know real pain. Others don't. And if you were invested at the start of the pandemic and you weren't heavily hedged, I didn't even really understand hedges. I didn't really understand the bond market back then. I had to learn all that stuff the painful way, which sometimes is the best. But yeah, so when you know that kind of pain, then a 50% drawback just kind of makes you chuckle, as far as being like the bottom. But Bitcoin is here, guys. Bitcoin is this little tiny thing somewhere. Where's my finger? It's over there. It's this little tiny thing in red over here. We've just started. I hope I can beat that into your head really good. Also, guys, follow my buddy Hodl15 Capital. I'm trying to watch his stuff more. So if anybody could just make sure that you're tuned into him, we need to be. He's got a lot of really good stuff. And he's got some charts he keeps track of. We need to look at those all the time, okay? Chris Federal knows the pain. Yes, sir, you do. We've been in it together for a while even. But yeah, so Greg Abbott, this little governor of Texas, don't know if you guys have heard about him. Again, they passed their treasury and they're looking to allocate $10 million in Bitcoin right away. Seems like a big deal. We got Cynthia Loomis talking now on CNBC. I think we're just going to jump to that for a second. She might be talking about some crypto structure Genius Act stuff. Let's just get to this. One sec. I can't pass up a little Cynthia Loomis. Is she getting prettier and younger? I can't
bank
tell.
Subcommittee on digital.
All right. Maybe it's just because I love her so much because of her Bitcoin stance. I don't know. But all right, let's listen.
Assets. And welcome, Senator. It's good to see you. As always, tell us about legislation that once and for all, what it would be. Crypto would be under the auspices of the SEC. Not the CFTC, among other things. What else is in this bill?
Well, actually, the digital assets themselves would be classified as commodities, so they would fall under the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. But a lot of them are bundled and sold by securities. And in that event, we need the superior disclosure and consumer protection provisions that are provided by the SEC. So it's very much a joint effort. Now, the reason that the Banking Committee is concentrating only on the SEC side of the equation is that commodities fall under the Senate Agriculture Committee. So we're going to have to join those efforts and dovetail them at some point. But for now, we're just putting out a framework of principles that we can follow and then move into the details of the legislation.
Oh, okay, so this is just rules, a framework of rules at this point. I mean, it's still, we're late, aren't we? I mean, compared to some countries in the rest of the world, and it's sorely needed.
Oh, absolutely. If we heard one thing yesterday at our first hearing on market structure, we heard loud and clear that the United States needs to pass market structure now. In fact, one of our witnesses said we need to do it yesterday because we are without that framework. These companies have been regulated by SEC enforcement actions, which means you move into a judicial proceeding. It's costing them literally hundreds of millions of dollars in lawyers' fees and not getting them the kind of certainty that they need going forward. So we've got to get this legislation through the system so they know the rules of the road. And it's also important for our excuse me, position in the international markets. Europe has regulations, Singapore has regulations, but they're not exactly tailored to what would be a more robust U.S. economy style of regulation. So we need to take leadership here. We haven't done it yet. And that's so rare for the United States to default and sit back and not lead. And this industry wants to grow and in the United States, and they want clear rules of the road. So they're asking for regulation. We need to provide it to them.
What do you think, French Hill, we just had the chairman on within the last half hour. What do you think is the fate of the Genius Act? What needs to be done to get it to pass in the House at this point?
Well, they also have put out legislation, and the House has done a great job of producing some market structure legislation to come out of the Banking Committee or the Financial Services Committee, as well as stablecoin legislation. And then the House Ag Committee has put out commodities legislation. So they're really ahead of us in terms of their committee work. We're ahead of them in the fact that we have passed through the Senate the Genius Act, which is focused on stablecoins. And so I hope now that they're comparing the stablecoin legislation that their Financial Services Committee passed to the Genius Act, and we can work together to figure out a path forward for both market structure and the Genius Act. Now, I'm not saying combine them, but they both need to pass this year. I know that there is enthusiasm at the White House for having the Congress send them a win in the area of stablecoins. And I'm very confident that the Genius Act that we worked so hard to get past the Senate is a high quality product that is worthy of the president's signature.
Senator, I know that, just switching gears, I know that that you were positive or at least supportive of the president's the action that we took on Saturday.
Okay, I'm good enough there. Yeah, I just want to see the Genius Act get passed. I think it will. I think there's a lot of incentive to make that happen. I mean, honestly, Trump's own family is highly invested in Bitcoin right now and this getting done. So I think it's going to happen. I think we'll see it. Mara announced a new partnership with TAE Power Solutions to deliver first-of-kind grid energy. That doesn't surprise me. That's exciting. So yeah, we got Texas buying. We got Cynthia Loomis. You guys, the bald comment. Jeez, you're killing me. Cynthia Loomis looking to accelerate the Genius Act introduction and the crypto market structure. And again, the Bitcoin Reserve Bill. All these things need to happen, and I think they will happen. We got Jelly over here talking about how Bitcoin had its megaphone pattern, how we back tested that trend line and then broke out. Again, we called all that stuff too. It looks great. We got Adam Livingston. If you guys don't follow Adam, he is brilliant. I've got a feeling his channel's going to go larger than mine because he's just funny as shit. And he's almost like a poet. But he said the Bitcoin is the hurdle rate. I think this is a really good post. I want to talk to it. He said, this is the most important capital markets transformation no one is prepared for. He said, let me explain in the thread below what it means. He goes, and why every asset on Earth is now being repriced in sats. Satoshis are the smallest unit of Bitcoin, in case you didn't know that. He said, traditionally, the hurdle rate is the minimum return an investment must earn to be worth the risk. It's usually benchmarked against U.S. treasuries. But in a world bleeding purchasing power, those risk-free rates are a joke. He said, enter Bitcoin. Approvably scarce, globally liquid, seizure-resistant asset with an immaculate monetary policy. It has averaged 100% plus CAGR since inception, and we're actually going to look at some stuff too, seeing how Bitcoin has done against the global money printer. I got a nice chart on that for you too later. But he said that means any project, stock, startup, real estate deal that can outperform Bitcoin is a net waste of time. That can't outperform Bitcoin is a net waste of time and capital. BTC is no longer an alternative. It's the benchmark. 100% agree. It's not treasuries. It's BTC. This rewires everything, and honestly, it's probably turning into MicroStrategy with Stride, Stripe, and Strike. Getting 8 to 10% returns every year is like the bare minimum, right? Capital is no longer racing toward growth at any cost. It's racing toward Bitcoin adjusted alpha. If you raise capital, build a business, or manage a fund, you now answer to the orange god of time of value. Most of TradeFi still prices in fiat, but the smartest capital allocators are starting to run a simple filter. Does this beat BTC over 4 years? If not, you're just burning Satoshis and inflating your ego. Fiat hurdle rates are manipulated by central banks. Bitcoin imposes a natural cost of capital rooted in entropy, scarcity, and energy. It's not just harder money, it's harder to beat money. He said this flip, the risk curve upside down. The real risk isn't volatility anymore, it's underperformance. If you hold cash, you lose. If you hold BTC, your benchmark is the future. If you build, you better outperform or die. And I would argue this. I would argue that, again, if you're switching from your cash position to Bitcoin as your reserve, instead of like having 40 billion or like 20, whatever it is for Tesla nowadays, 25, 30 billion in cash, if half of that is sitting in Bitcoin, then you don't have to worry about, your money just disappearing while you sit on all this cash or doing stupid things like stock buybacks, just trying to, regain more shares while, again, propping up your stock. There's just a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense anymore in this new world. But he's right. Bitcoin is the hurdle rate. It's going to make it to where companies, individuals, pensions, states, countries, it doesn't matter. They'll all be holding their value in Bitcoin, and then they'll be using the other stuff to spend, and they'll probably be using US dollars, which is great for us. Yes, we can look at the Mara chart. Reminder to smash the like button, says Yer. Thank you. I appreciate that. So he said you better adjust your models, your valuations, and your worldview the sooner you stop losing time, because in the end, Bitcoin doesn't just measure capital, it measures destiny. I 100% agree with that. Really good post. Deserves way more than 607 likes. Bitcoin historian breaking 500 billion in MasterCard joins major Bitcoin exchanges and stablecoin consortium. And I think they're using Link for part of this too. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Cross-border payments disruption is coming. Again, this is where these companies will die, actually. Visa, MasterCard, they're probably going to, American Express, Discover. These companies probably won't exist in 10 years. But they do for now, right? They do for now because we're at the stage where they're not making fun of us anymore. Now they're trying to join us, and then eventually they just go away. That's how technological innovation works. Bitcoin Archive, just in, Michael Saylor offers to share his company's Bitcoin credit model with Trump's director of housing to push Bitcoin qualified mortgage lending. This is a big deal. Pulte said, we will study the usage of cryptocurrency holdings as it relates to qualifying for mortgages. And Michael Saylor said, we've developed a BTC credit model that we're happy to share. It takes into account loan duration, collateral coverage, BTC price, BTC volatility, and BTC ARR, annual recurring revenue outlook to generate statistical BTC risk and BTC credit spreads. Try it now on our website. Fucking crazy. We've got Vlad Tenev, my favorite vampire. He said, $70 billion Robinhood CEO just said live on CNBC that Bitcoin and crypto will replace traditional finance. It's happening. Let's listen to real quick. It'll only take 55 seconds.
I do think that crypto itself, there's two ways to look at it. One is a tradable asset like options, futures, and equities. The other is as a fundamental underlying technology.
Right.
And in the second lens, it's the next stage in evolution. We've gone from paper and pencil, filing cabinet-based financial services to mainframe to on-premise, and then more recently cloud. Now crypto is the next stage in that, where a lot of the business logic that we've required businesses to actually build is now shared infrastructure. So exchanges, lending pools, payment processors, all these things are replaced by software. So I think in the future, crypto technology will power trading and all sorts of financial services, including trading in stocks and other TradFi assets. So the two will fully merge. And I do think that crypto...
Yeah, agreed. They will. Somebody said something about Barclays. I'll take a look in a second here. Actually, maybe I'll just do it real quick. Let me pull this up. Open a link in a new tab. Something about Barclays banning crypto. Barclays. Let's see here. Oh, what's going on there? Huh? Let me try this again. Okay, maybe I won't do that one right now because things are being weird. We'll go back to it. If you guys could tag me if you had that post. Count Vlad Dracula, right? Jesse, do you have any thoughts on Pompliano's newest venture? You're talking about CCCM or Paklapula or something? I don't have enough. Pomp has kind of a sordid past on his ventures doing well and not doing well. I do like the fact that they bought a shit ton of Bitcoin, that they bought like 9 days worth of supply in one day. The more companies we have buying Bitcoin, we just win. So CCCM, I don't know. He had another one, Pac-Poo or something. Pac-Poo, what a name. That one dropped just a shit ton. And I don't know how CCCM's doing. I was going to look at it later. I usually let like the excitement die down on things. And then I get more excited about them. So like again, today, maybe getting a little more excited about H100, maybe getting a little more excited about Coincilium more. And if somebody isn't in it yet, I'm still like pretty happy with the Smarter Web Company because I'm up at like 170% even after the drop yesterday. But getting excited about Smarter Web Company, I think now are the times where you start to get excited about this stuff. SBET is the Ethereum treasury, right? If Ethereum starts to get a launch, this thing's going to be stupid. It already had its drop, right? So like this thing already dropped 95% almost. And as a pre-market, it's up another 5% in pre. It's still down 91% from its high. Its high that was on what date? May 27th. So we're talking about a month, guys. We're talking about a month ago this thing was up in the $120 range, and now it's $10.16. So I don't know. I don't think this narrative's dead. I think it's just getting ready to get started. So that's why I have about $300,000 sitting inside of SBET. But I get excited about the things after people start to like rotate it into the next thing. That's when I get excited. Let's listen. My buddy Income Sharks, he's got his other alt account, his little Baby Shark account. It says the floodgates are opening for crypto. Let's listen here. This is talking about our buddy Jerome Powell, kind of a loser, going to get fired in May. Let's listen to him.
That banks get to decide who their customers are. That's not our decision. And so banks are free to provide banking services to the crypto industry, to crypto companies. And banks are also free to conduct crypto activities as long as they do so in a way that is, protective of safety and soundness.
And again, first off, nobody gives a shit what you say anymore. But secondly, what he is saying is important. The Stablecoin Genius Act bill, will be huge at helping with this process. And then the market structure bill will be huge too. That right after market structure, guys, maybe even after stablecoin, you're going to see all these banks starting to talk about how they've got a solution for storing your crypto and your Bitcoin. It's going to happen. Let's look at other stuff. We had so many buys yesterday, and people were freaking out because these companies issued debt to buy Bitcoin, and not all of them bought yesterday, but a lot of issuing of debt to buy Bitcoin. These are exciting times. Yes, there's dilution. Yes, these things operate at incredibly high premiums, but once you get the math and understand where we are in the cycle, it doesn't seem too expensive. But we got Brazilian fintech, Melius, probably Melius, whatever, fuck it. Serving over 30 million users, officially becomes Latin America's largest publicly traded Bitcoin holder after a stock offering and purchasing of 275.43 Bitcoin, increasing their total to 595.67. Cool stuff. Again, we're just seeing a ton of this. Huge breaking. Saylor predicts that Metaplanet to become the second largest corporate BTC holder. Right now, Marathon is the second with 49,000 BTC. Metaplanet currently holds 11,111 BTC. Do you think they'll catch Mara? My bet is yes. I agree with that, actually. It's probably by the end of the year even, maybe. Unless Mara does some kind of purchase too. That's possible. They might want to try and maintain their lead. Mara moving to HPC sector? Yeah, I mean, that's the hot sector right now. And we talked about this, guys. I don't know if you guys remember this. I did a post talking about how we had a cup and a handle, and then a back test of that on Iron. And now Iron is up here. We still have a ways to go. Again, this is probably the biggest HPC right now, but we got another 46% upside in Iron, up about 4% in pre-market. And again, guys, if you're looking for my charts are in the Discord. I share all of them in there. So once I do have to put a bunch in, I don't have any of the Bitcoin treasuries really. I probably have Metaplanet or some of you guys might have added it, but I need to get my charts in for those. I keep saying I'm going to do it. I got to do it. But yeah, so this is going to be a nice move higher. And again, we've had pain in iron. This thing was down 67%. It topped back in December of 2024, a little bit later than the other miners because HPC, high performance computing, was still kind of a thing. Then it dropped 67%, and now it's been launching pretty good since then with another 46%. This is good stuff. HPC is definitely a strong narrative right now. I don't see that dying down. I've actually been selling some of my iron though because I still own all the options. My options are doing great. But I sold a lot of stock to buy other stuff, and I don't regret it. I bought asset entities, otherwise known as asset titties, and then I bought SBET too. I bought just a bunch liquid. I bought Concilium. I bought all these other things that I think are just going to do really, really good. So I'm not sweating it. I sold Tesla for that too. You got to remember, I sold a bunch of Tesla. People probably giving me a hard time over the short term because of these moves, but over the long term, they will not. SEP is really quiet. SEP is quiet. SEP, and somebody asked a second ago about Naka. Both of these I'm kind of not focused on. And why am I not focused on them? Because I think that there's an aspect moment to happen still with Naka. So you might want to focus on ass and titties, ASST, instead of Nakas, because Nakas could still go down. And it doesn't have to, but I mean, if you look over here, arguably, this is still kind of an ugly pattern. Even though it had a little bit of a bounce, one could still make this argument, okay? One could still make an argument that we're sitting at, and I'll just kind of draw this to its worst level, that we're sitting on an ascending triangle, or a descending triangle that wants to break down lower. And so one could make this argument, right? And it doesn't have to do this. The broader market could change this. But I just don't like, there's so many other plays that have already kind of washed out, like SBET, where you're down. Again, that's a Ethereum treasury, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Where you've washed out, right? This right here has not given me a good sign of a washout yet. But it does have the ability to wash out, which scares me a little bit. And again, the measured move for that, just coincidentally enough, is right down to fill this volume gap down in the 521 range. So would I be interested in buying some of this? Yes, I would. If we break down again, I would start buying in the low 10 to 9s range, and then I would probably really load the boat in the 5s. But I just don't want to do that yet because I don't like risk. I know that sounds insane coming from me, but I really don't like risk. SEP's a little bit like that too. Circle, if you haven't, Circle is a bubble, like that thing's going to pop. If you haven't taken profits and you rode the Circle train, man, there's so many other good opportunities for you to make some money. But again, just keep in mind that Naka went up 2,500%, guys, in a very short period of time. And I don't love 64% downside risk. That's just me. So you do you, but I'm not getting in the Nakas. I might grab me some Nakas later. Alona says, Jesse, with the equity raise through Metaplanet, how much Bitcoin are they buying and how will it affect? I mean, they've got a $5 billion plan. The MNAV, I want to say, is around 6 or something. We could check that later, too. But I think that they're going to do, I don't know, I think they're going to do really well, man. I'm super stoked about it. I think it's going to be ridiculous. SEP is really quiet. Yeah, that's the other one. And SEP, let's see over here. So I'll just pull up SEP, guys, too, and show you this one as well. So again, I'm going to make an argument here that this is a descending triangle. I'm going to make an argument that when it breaks down, it becomes more interesting. That could, if it breaks past 27, then all of a sudden it starts to make some noise. We have a 100 moving average sitting at the 23 range. That's kind of interesting. But honestly, I mean, we got a gap. We got a couple of gaps. We got a gap way down here. I don't think we filled this one at 1080. That's just not going to happen. But we do have a gap in the 18 range, which again gets to our measured move. So we talked about this before, but like, again, I don't want to buy something in a heavy way that can go down 42% more to complete its measured move to fill this other gap over here. I just don't love that. That risk to reward is just not fun for me. Oh, 1 second here. I got something weird. Let me hit my mouse is fluttering or something's fluttering. What is going on, bro? Oh, there we go. Just had to beat the shit out of my mouse. All right. But yeah, I don't love that, right? I'd like to see that kind of wash out, at least get into the 20 range, and then maybe start to establish something. That way, this thing, instead of looking like this, would look something like this. And then it's like, oh, wait, we got maybe a bull flag or something. I can get into a bull flag. But we don't get that bull flag until we get some washout first. These are just rules that I have. It doesn't have to do this. The broader market could send it higher. But boy, would it feel a lot better if it was down at those levels. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my thought on that. Let's go back over. We got a lot to get through here still. They're suggesting a 97x NAV. On what? On what right now? And who's suggesting it? And let's look back over here, guys. Let's look at SWC. I kind of love this one. The Bitcoin accumulation race is a good one. There's a few different other charts that I have for this too that do a good job. That HODL 15 account, we'll look at another thing of his in a second. But again, at least within this one, and honestly, Liquid and Concilium could be doing an even more aggressive rate. That's another UK fund, and then another Canadian one. They could be even doing a faster acceleration than what we're seeing with Smarter Web Company. But as you can see here, Smarter Web Company is dominating. Metaplanet, obviously a lot larger. It's harder to grow your stack when you're a lot bigger. You can see that with MicroStrategy, right? MicroStrategy is not a super aggressive line, but it's doing pretty good. And then Metaplanet's here in green. And then you see Similar just kind of chopping and going sideways. Love to see that do better. We'll see. And then Cooler Technology isn't really doing much better than Similar. And then the blockchain group is starting to pick up pace. We like that. But you just can't compare that to Smarter Web Company or some of these other smaller ones that I really love that are going to do really great. Yes, we'll look at more charts in a second. I want to run through some of this, though. I did say in this post, I said, because somebody said, so Cash Be King, he said, so basically, quicker way to see value in BTC players is market cap divided by BTC ratio. I checked it the other day, and Grok had Metaplanet and MSTR as the highest ratio, but wasn't sure how many. So that's probably a good sign of ones that are larger that have done really well, right? Those are the ones that have kind of accumulated the bulk of what they're going to accumulate, or at least their growth is going to be a little bit slower going forward. I said probably the better way to look at this if you want to really get high returns right now at this part of the cycle is the growth rate of their accumulation, the consistency of their accumulation, and the terms of their agreements are probably one of the best figures for figuring out where their stock price is headed next. Again, I would rather see a pace of growth that is ridiculous because that's and then be consistent with that and have good terms, have solid backers. If you see that kind of stuff, you're going to probably make wicked returns. So that's kind of my big focus right now, guys. What about Similar? Would it make more sense to move out and into something else, or do you see some good potential? I might actually sell my Similar. I got about 50K or something in it. I might sell it if we see a big drop in the Smarter Web Company, Concilium, or some of these others today. I might sell that because, again, it's just not the fastest horse. And I've made a little bit of money off of it. Similar, actually. Yesterday it ended up flat, but today it's up 1.46%. But I might take some of that. Again, it's already a 467 million market cap. There are others that are like 150 or sub 300 that look more interesting to me. And the Smarter Web Company, what are you at this morning? I don't know what that's at. That's probably closer to $1 billion, maybe a little bit less. Down 18.47% in the UK right now, guys. We'll see. We could still see a little drop in the US markets too before heading higher. Looking to K33, I think I did. And there's some, again, we're going to pull up, we're going to show accumulation charts. I've got to pull up, we got to get a little further down our Bitcoin curve here. So how many companies have a path to Bitcoin sovereignty? So again, Michael Saylor pitching Metaplanet, the second competitor really in Bitcoin treasuries. I love that. BLG VF hasn't really traded much. There's not a lot of volume on it. Yeah, that might be an interesting one too. I've got a lot to look at, guys. There's so many of these. We're going to look at a broader chart here in a little bit. But I said yesterday, you don't deserve the hundreds of percent in gains if you can't take a 30 to 50% drop. That's just not how upward volatility works. And again, there's people that have been crushed by miners who probably will look at that and be like, fuck off. I get it. I get it. Concilium down today? Yeah, it could be. The British market is down 21%. It hasn't hit the low of yesterday, but it is down. This is probably the last day it's down and probably a good day to buy. So again, maybe I'll sell some similar and pick that up along with like Liquid if it goes down. And again, Smarter Web Company. All these look really enticing to me today. So I would gobble that shit up. Just in, public companies bought 12,400 Bitcoin this week. Only 3,150 were mined. Supply shock is programmed, just a matter of time. So yeah, when you're buying 4 times as many Bitcoin as what are available, new amounts coming in, it's a big deal, right? It's a big deal. And I said a bunch of Bitcoin treasuries just issued a shit ton of debt to buy BTC at sick MNAVs, and people are worried about the short-term drop in the stock price. Just gives me a headache. There's a bunch of others in here. Again, Bitcoin miners, guys, did great yesterday. People weren't paying attention to this, but this is the first time in a very long time this is happening. And I want to talk about something else, too, that I posted. We'll segue here probably in a second. Again, a bunch of Bitcoin companies are going to be coming in. I want to pull something up, though. I want to pull up my HODL 15 guy because one of my bookmarks isn't showing here, and I want it to. HODL 15 cap. What is it? No, it's HODL, though. It's HODL. 50. There he is. Not 15. 15. Okay, this guy. Make sure you follow him. It's very important. He posts on the daily here. He posts updates. This one, last one was the 23rd, showing where all these different companies are sitting at. This is helpful information, showing which ones are accelerating. I've got some other good posts. I can't seem to find them right now. I'll try to during the session. Otherwise, I'll repost them, and then I'll make sure that we have a good source for it. But you got to pay attention, guys, to who's accelerating the most. It is so important. Look at this. So MicroStrategy did a buy. Metaplanet, buy. Kango did a buy. I'm not touching China, though. AltBG did a buy. Great. BitDeer. Okay. They're probably just adding to their stack. I don't know that they bought. And again, this Brazilian company buying up to 595. Smarter Web at 346, but that's wrong. They're actually up in the 5s now, too, so they're up here. ANAP, H100 buying, Liquid buying, Bitmine Immersion. I don't know. That's probably them just adding to their stack. Matador bought, Genius Group bought, Vanans bought. Again, you want, and Concilium is in here, very low cap, very low cap. K33 is a low cap too. I don't know. Is that Switzerland or Sweden? What's the flag there? Sitting on a very low amount of Bitcoin. As long as these guys are keeping a strong pace and accelerating growth, they will see much higher prices. So again, but I right now, and again, Mata buying, that's a good thing. I sold out of that one, but whatever. Concilium, though, I think is one of the fastest paced ones on here. And again, Liquid isn't a very big stack yet right now either, but has the ability to go up fast. I don't know. There's going to be a lot of good ones. You guys will probably pick some that I don't. It's all good. But just realize the rate of growth is huge. You want to be paying attention to that. And people are going to make a lot of money. And again, Bitcoin, Pomp's new purchase here. Anthony Pompliano, I guess he bought 1,208 BTC and now has a total of 4,932. So they were in the 3,000s and now they're at almost 5. Jumping up through this very quickly. Norway, thank you. Thank you very much. So again, I don't know kind of the use case for Norway outside of just being the company in Norway that's doing it, but that one could have really big growth too. I don't know if is there a US ticker for K33, guys? Let me know if there is. Maybe I'll buy some of that today too. Who knows? Who knows? All right, let's keep going though. So we're probably going to jump out of this. I'm probably going to jump out of the Bitcoin stuff here. Let me jump over here. I'm trying to see. I know I have a chart in here somewhere. Is it this one? MNAV Explorer? No. Projection. That's just these guys. Let me go back over here. Maybe it's over here. No, it wasn't here. There's another one I have that does a good job of letting you pick between a bunch of different companies. Let me see. Is it over here? No, that's CryptoQuant. Is it over here? Nope, that's the Bitcoin mining one. Is it here? No. Where is it? Top Bitcoin treasury companies. I'm trying to think. I thought it was these guys, but maybe I'm wrong. Oh, or maybe it's lower. No, that's like helpful. It's not what I'm talking about, though. Let me go over here. Let me see. I got it somewhere, I think. That's the SBET nav tracker. SBET's now at a 7 nav. Cool. This is the time for Metaplanet. This is the Japanese ticker symbol market. Where is it? Where is this thing I'm looking for? Strategy tracker, maybe? No, not it either. A good one, but not it. Not what I'm talking about. I got to find it. I'll try and find it. Did I see the latest Natalie Brunell episode with Jeff Walton, Ben Workman, and Tim? No, I didn't. What was a quick highlight from it? I did see that it was out there. I just didn't have time to look at it. Did I talk about ASST? I did briefly. I said that I think it's a really good buy. It could have a drop too, but here's what I like about this one. It seems like it's consolidating, and one would kind of argue that this was already a huge washout, and that this could be the bottom with a higher. Again, we could go lower. There's a gap right here at 337, but this company's only evaluated at an 80 million cap. But there's stuff to worry about here too, guys. They're still closing a merger. And there's a lot of deals there are details that have to be finalized in some of that. So I don't know that I'd throw a ton of money into this. I have about, I want to say 2.5% of my portfolio in it, which is a decent chunk. But I'm not going harder than that because, again, maybe we still get a washout here to close into the threes, or maybe we get and fill this gap over here, or maybe the deals of the merger end up just being shit. And this thing gets washed out even further down into the dollar range. You just don't know. But I love at the $80 million market cap, I feel like it's a decent risk to reward. And so that's why I'm in it. But again, just kind of keep aware of things like that. You could still get hurt from it, okay? How much BTC would Metaplanet need to hold for its stock price to move like MicroStrategy? To move like MicroStrategy? You mean to move slower? Is that what you're talking about? Because, I mean, it will slow down. They're nowhere near that, though. The holdings for MicroStrategy right now are massive in scale. Real quickly here, I'm going to go back. Oh, you know what? I will look at the Mara chart because somebody was asking. I need to look at CleanSpark, too. Let me actually do that first because CleanSpark is the real breakout here. Let's go and look at that. Archer? What about Archer? I know people love that. I think the CEO is a fraud, and I could be wrong. But I just don't love it. I don't love it. I don't see why people are interested in it, honestly. If that's what you're talking about. But yeah, CleanSpark. Here's what I wanted to talk about here. So a couple things. K33 is Sweden. Cool. So one thing I want to talk about with CleanSpark. In pre-market, and I think we're still there. Yeah, we're still above it. $10.20. We already broke above 10. We're above the 200 daily moving average, guys, which is kind of huge. The last time that we sustained a close above that was back in 2024 in early December. So that's 7 months ago that we were at this level. So we're getting a breakout. We've got what looks like a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder, or whatever. It could just be a cup and handle. It doesn't really matter how you look at it. The measured move is very similar in nature, right? Measured move gets us to the $17 range. Breaking through a downward trend line. How long did that go back since I don't have it pictured? Head and shoulder pattern. That started in March of 2024, 16 months ago. So 16 months ago, guys, 16 plus months ago, that's where we're getting ready. This red line right here, we're getting ready to break out of that. That is such a big deal. So again, inverse head and shoulders, breaking the 200 moving average, a 7-month achievement, right? If we close above this today. And then, again, this downward trend line goes all the way back, really, to March of 2024. And if you look at the 200 moving average, the last time we were really sustained above that was also around like the April 2024 range before we started going down. So this is one of the first really strong technical signs that we're getting ready to break out and go higher. Probably off the back of the 50 exahash per second operational hash rate, which is the fastest, most powerful of any publicly traded miner, beating Mara. Again, Mara, bigger stack, but these guys doing better at the actual hash rate. Again, just good stuff. This is good stuff, guys. This is what you want to see. Seeing miners take off only helps everything, right? Miners are going to do better. These Q2 earnings are up 30+% from where they were at the end of Q1. And the difficulty hasn't went up that much. So we're finally starting to see some excitement that's happening right now. What is the ARC NF? But Schwab said no volume. It's a new Swedish market, but headquartered out of Norway. Ah, okay. Is that the US ticker for K33? Is that what you guys are saying? Yeah, the no volume thing is scary. I'll have to see how it compares dollar-wise, if it's overvalued or undervalued. So you'll have to give me some time to look at that. But I'll try and look at that. Yeah, and let's look at Mara. Let's look at Mara. So Iron, we saw a beautiful chart. We looked at CleanSpark already. Let's look at Mara. Similar setup, just not as aggressive, I would argue. So we have, again, this one is probably more cleaner, known as a cup and handle pattern. I'll probably draw it more conservatively. Oh, 1 second. That's the wrong line. I need to lock that. I'll draw this more conservatively here down to like here. But again, the measured move for this breakout is arguably right about here, which gets us down to this downward trend line that, again, if we go to the way back over here, it started over here on April 12th, was support for a second. Well, I mean, it tried to be support and it failed back in November. This is of 2021. 2021. And then over here, it was resistance again in February of 2024. And then it was resistance again in November of 2024. And now we're at even lower levels. This is probably the breakout zone where you would get a move higher. But we're looking at essentially what looks like a 70+% breakout opportunity here for Mara. So again, a very large launch in Mara that would put it roughly at a $9 billion market cap, a pretty large market cap. I think we can go higher, though. I think this thing for the cycle can go anywhere between easily, I'd say the 30 range, like the low 30s, all the way up to the 42 range pretty easily. I'm trying to be conservative on this one because, again, there's just, I would argue the better player right now is CleanSpark from a pure miner play, and I would argue that Iron is a better play from an HPC. Mara is kind of that universal play, but it's a larger cap. It's already $5.3 billion. Iron is only 2.78, and CleanSpark is only 2.82. So these are like half the size of Mara. So you have to factor this stuff in when you're looking at these and how much returns they can get. But if Mara gets 183% return and it gets up to $43, a lot of people are going to make money off of that. And that means that CleanSpark has probably done several 100%, maybe 200-300% in returns. And again, these could go even higher, but I think these are pretty decent. Holy shit, pre-market showing what? Which one is showing a jump that large? All right, anyway, keep going. Kirby Techs, Jeff Walton explained how he came up with MNAV and compared it to the PE ratio investors are used today. Also talked about the evidence that we are still so early. Oh, that sounds like a good one, man. I'll watch it. Martin, Stochastic RSI on daily is in the deep, but weekly it's on the top. Sure. Okay. But yeah, I think macro is going to pull us higher. I do, in many different ways. So we'll see again what I end up buying. What are we at right now? Almost 8 o'clock. No real economic data to speak of. Fed Chair Powell testimony happening at 9. New home sales. I'm probably not going to stick around for all that, though. Honestly, I got a lot going on. I'm trying to get done in just my regular life and just keeping up with all this stuff, too. You can't really do a good job of it, I don't think, while you're constantly on line. And I've got to focus on my health a lot. Got a lot of stuff to do. Jesse, what are your thoughts on Liquid? I think it's a good one. Concilium is maybe even better. But both of these, I think they're just smaller caps that could do really well. I've seen the Mara chart from Discord, but need your comments on that. Can you share? Okay. Well, you just got them. And then I updated it and saved it. So there you go. That's done. Aspect chart, I showed it a little bit earlier. I think it's a huge opportunity for upside. I mean, a month ago, it was significantly higher than it is today. Today, it is just above this peak volume area. And that peak volume area is going to the way back, guys. Let's zoom way out here and look at peak volume here. This is crazy, actually. So if we zoom way, way back, the volume changes hands. We're still underneath of it. But we're looking at peak volume on local time frame here. Let me just zoom out a little bit. Let me readjust this and let it recalculate. So we're sitting right at peak volumes, guys, going back years, several years. And we had a massive blow off top a month ago sitting at 123, and we're only at $10 now, which means we're looking at 1,000% gains to get back to the previous high. Not that it needs to do that, but I've said, guys, we don't have any real volume until 27. So I do think this is an easy run to 27, which is 180% higher than what we're looking at right now. So if you like, that would put me at $1 million in SBET if we get to that level, or close to it, like $900,000 in SBET. If we get to that level, I'd probably maybe cut my position in half if we do that, or at least a third. Take out my initial investment, and then let the other 600,000 ride. 850Z said, how many interventions do you experience with your own FSD car when you use FSD? I don't have like any ever. Really, ever. Never anymore. The only interventions are when I take over because I'm being stupid and I think it's doing something wrong and it's not. Or if I don't like the path it's taking and I want to kind of reroute it, I'll turn it off from the destination that I have. And maybe recalculate it, and then it gives you choices, and then I'll choose the one I want. Or if it doesn't have it, I'll just put it on autopilot without a destination, so it just goes straight. But that's the only time. So path management is the only time that I have to intervene, and that's before this latest version of FSD that they just put live in Austin. It is literally full self-driving right now, guys. It is full self-driving right now. Tesla is amazing. I don't own like hardly any, and I need to update my portfolio. I'll try and do that. I've been really lazy about that. When was the last time I did it? Let me just see here real quick. And I'm going to see if I can see that Barclay report too. When was this? It was June 17th. Oh, yeah, so I'm almost 2 weeks. I was trying to do that weekly, so I kind of sucked, so I'm sorry. Yeah, I take my truck over 100. Actually, you can only take it 85 with full self-driving running. You used to be able to go over 90, which was great, but probably dangerous. But you can only do 85 with FSD right now. I do take my truck over 120 sometimes, but that's just me. We're at 107,300 now, guys. Looking beautiful over there. Let's go back though. Let's look at other stuff. So I want to real quickly. So we did Bitcoin. We're gonna roll through it here now, guys. So Metaplanet last night, these guys got crushed. Why? Because it dropped like crazy, and then people probably got really excited, jumped into a bunch of shorts, or maybe they took some profits on their shorts. If they were smart, they did. Then it went up 25%, and it closed up 4% on the day, which just hurt these motherfuckers big time. So if you didn't close your shorts yesterday on Metaplanet, you were an idiot. And maybe that gave some people an opportunity to get out because they just got destroyed. Again, this is a significant bounce, I would argue. And everybody's probably trying to look for gaps. They're trying to look for gaps to be filled. We did get one, right? So we got a pretty large gap filled over here, which is great. That could fill in the U.S. market. If I look over here at Metaplanet real quickly, you can see how it did in Germany. Metaplanet down 8% on the day. So Germany, its gap had closed. But you got to realize, guys, these guys have it weird, right? Because their market, let me just look here real quickly on the daily. They just opened up because their market over here on Friday was up here at 1246, and then they just opened up, right? And did they have a holiday in Germany? Am I tripping here? No, it's just Friday to Monday. So they were down 8.2. Are they open yet? You know what? Let me just go over here real quick because I'm probably being retarded. Let me just see. Is it here? Yeah, okay. FWB DN3 is up 1.68%. So it's up today. So I don't know why mine isn't refreshing. Have I not refreshed, or is it just being retarded? Let me move some of the stuff off my screen. DN3. Why don't I have the German market already if it's open? I might have to see if I can get a better ticker. So they're actually up already. So yeah, in the United States, I don't expect a drop, but they did close their gap. Japan closed their gap, and let's see what we're doing with Metaplanet in the USA. So in the USA, did we close our gap? Yeah, we did. We closed the first gap. We didn't close the second gap. That's okay because that's how they trick people in these treasuries, because people are used to gaps closing. But this gap didn't close. This gap didn't close. This gap didn't close before we bounced yesterday in Metaplanet. And today, I don't think you're going to see a drop. They have holidays all the time? Yeah, they do. You got naked people hanging out at the park. You got beer gardens right next to the park. And you have holidays all the time because they don't like to work. It's okay, though. I kind of like that mentality myself. I think it should be more like that. I think it will be with robotics. Helga, thank you, Helga, said, I want to get some Metaplanet. Which broker will let me do that? I'm brand new to this. If you're in the United States, Helga, it's MTPLF. It's this one right up here. So I'll just type them all out. So you got to see which ticker symbol lets you do it. It's MTPLF for the United States. It's DN3 if you have access to the German market. It is 3350 if you have access to the Japanese market. Those are the three different tickers. You should see, though, which ones are available to you. Guys, if you have exchanges that work too, Helga, who's your exchange? And have you tried those three tickers? E-Trade only charges $3.95 per buy. That sounds like a great opportunity there if you can get into it. But yeah, so I think Metaplanet's going to do really good. I don't even necessarily expect a drop. I expect maybe a pop. It might sell just a little bit. I'm probably going to sell some similar today to try and get into some of these other smaller plays. And if Metaplanet's just popping like crazy, maybe I do a little bit of that too. Let's jump over here though. So again, Metaplanet doing really great. $517 million in equity capital on day one of the 555 plan, guys. You only have Robinhood? You're probably going to need a different exchange. Can you guys recommend another one for her? Because I don't think Vlad wants another GameStop moment with these companies that are just going ape shit. So I think he's staying away from them. Nobody's responding to his request when he's saying, like, when people are like, God, what's going on with Metaplanet? Are you going to add it? He's not responding. Jules, Jesse, off topic. Did you already speak about the greatest mayoral nominee, the Dems? No, I haven't talked about the idiot that's going to get elected in New York City. He's beating Cuomo, I believe, right now. We will probably talk about that. But yeah, so this was amazing. What they extinguished $281 million in bonds, guys, Metaplanet, while issuing $517 in equity capital on day one for the 555 plan. This is showing very aggressively that they changed their BTC NAV to debt ratio, which is one that Dylan likes to track, and I think honestly a really good one to track because it shows how much risk you have. What went from a 4x to a 97.8x in the process, Metaplanet only holds 1.18 billion in BTC, or I should say holds almost 2 billion in BTC against 0.012 billion in bonds. That is a ridiculous ratio of Bitcoin to debt. That is a ridiculous ratio. It's a beautiful thing, guys. You should be very, very excited about that. And thank you guys for helping answer Helga's question on another broker that works for her. Really appreciate it. I do know this, Helga, that SBET, which again is an Ethereum treasury that I think can go up 170% in a very short period of time, SBET, this one on this ticker right here, is a good opportunity for a small amount of your portfolio, in my opinion. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a high school dropout in his basement who got rich and retired himself and a bunch of other people, probably 100 people by now, maybe more. But this one, I think, again, could get back up to here. And I should put an alert there, actually. It could get back up to there. Oh, I got to save this. My alerts are not doing well lately. I don't know if I've capped out on them. I might need to upgrade my plan some more. I have, I thought the most expensive plan. But let me just make sure here, see if this one will do. Oh, now I can do it. Sweet. But I do think it could be an opportunity, and it is something you do have access to on Robinhood. I know that much. Not a lot of good opportunities for treasuries on Robinhood. Gnome said, Jesse, does your trading view show MTPLF down over 5% yesterday? Does my trading view show? Yeah, 5.67% was yesterday. But we were actually much lower than that. We had a good bounce yesterday. We were down here. We were down to the low 10s yesterday, which I said we could even get into the 9s, and we didn't do that. Again, it's a tricky bitch. But yeah, my trading view does say that. My trading view, again, for the Japanese markets and U.S. markets and a lot of others, is updated as much as it can be in real time. I'm the premium version. So I have like the best of the best. Climb that ladder. This is the equivalent, guys, of Roaring Kitty for Metaplanet. He said, win 5%. I doubt we have to wait until November. We're entering acceleration. Already Metaplanet's Q2 yield is greater than Q1 and will very likely get another purchase before Q2 ends. I think we'll hit 10% or more this year on this chart. So Metaplanet divided by MSTR, Bitcoin held ratio, is showing that Metaplanet is growing at a much quicker rate than MicroStrategy. This is a beautiful chart. Again, give props to Roaring Kitty over here, Actually Climber. He's a good dude. He's making a lot of people really rich. And again, there's other ones like the Smarter Web Company, which are doing an even more aggressive rate than what these guys are doing. And again, I might have to do these charts myself if I can't find them. But I would like to see the Smarter Web Company up against this, the SMC divided by MSTR for Bitcoin held ratio. I would like to see that under Liquid. I would like to see that in Concilium, the blockchain group, all these groups. I would like to see all of them weighed in these terms. So maybe this is stuff I have to do myself. I don't know. I don't want to because I hate that shit. I hate working. Import, MTPLF 555 plan, MSW analysis. The compliant DGen goes into that and how he thinks it'll trade. I'm not going to talk about all that right now. I'll talk about it more later. Dylan LeClaire, we're in exponential phase, he says. Let's listen to this real quick. It's a 30-second clip.
We're growing weekly or monthly what a lot of high growth companies and public markets grow on an annual basis. So with that said, one of the things that I tried to convey is, we look at our Bitcoin holdings chart in linear scale. Let's also look at it in logarithmic, because a lot of our growth is in the exponential.
I only look at charts in logarithmic, probably because I only do asymmetric bets. I never look in linear. So any of you guys on TradingView, that's just, I always switch it to log immediately.
Phase. So in order to model something like Metaplanet or a future trajectory, a linear model doesn't actually fit.
He's right. Doesn't work with Bitcoin either, or Tesla. Climb that ladder, Metaplanet's gorgeous growth over the past 460 days, a log chart. So what they're trying to show here is the consistency in their growth rate compared to other companies. And that number, if you log this out further, the quest to 100,000 is not far. It's not far. You know why? All we have to do to look at 100,000 is do the same thing that we did from here to here and from here to here. And so for them to go from 1,000 was the end of last year to 10,000 was 6 months. So technically, theoretically, the quest to 100,000 is late 2025, early 2026. I know that's insane. I know nobody's talking about that. Very few are, but Climb That Ladder is trying to send you guys a signal here. He's trying to tell you that by the end of this year, these guys will be close to 100,000 Bitcoin, which is a big deal because it's way ahead of their schedule, right? Metaplanet, so I said 8,000 yen is calling. So this is kind of a big deal because, again, we were at 1620 on here. What are we at right now? We're at 1593, so actually we're a little bit lower than that in Japanese yen terms. But this is what I'm telling you is happening. I'm telling you we're getting to the 8,000s, almost 9,000 yen. That's why I played this stupid video at the beginning, guys, because this video is literally telling you what's coming. It's telling you what's coming. Japanese yen, like, look right here. Look at this. Watch this.
Father! Power levels 8,000, huh? Now it's over 9.
So I don't know if we're getting over 9, but I'm telling you that getting close to 9 is probable right now. That's what I'm telling you. So if you like money, yeah, 6x, yeah, if you like a 6x, maybe that's a pretty good deal, right? And this is like the measured move here, right? If you look over here, this is just another version of that measured move with the breakout being here. This one had a slightly lower one, and so maybe we only get to 5,000 to 6,000 on the low end. For yen. Maybe we only get a 3 or 4x instead of, a 5 to 6. Wah. You'll be all right. Climb That Ladder. Again, beautiful charts. If you're not following Actually Climber, and tag me if I don't post something that I should be posting because I love him. Again, he's showing Metaplanet. He's showing different ratios here. Metaplanet's Bitcoin holdings as a percent of number 2 to number 9 public companies. So he's showing Metaplanet versus all these others. And again, you're just seeing that Metaplanet was outpacing Mara, was outpacing CleanSpark, XXI, Tesla, Riot, Hut, Galaxy, Coin. Notice, though, that my boy, actually Climber, notice that he's not doing this against Smarter Web, Liquid, Concilium. He's not doing it against these because their rate of growth is so quick because they're so small. 107,350 we just hit a second ago, guys. Looking beautiful. The breakout is coming fast. Oh, here we go. The microstrategist.com. This is what I'm looking for. Okay, this is what I wanted. This is great. Okay, so I had it under Metaplanet here. I need to make sure you follow him too, guys. Right here, this site, microstrategist.com is beautiful. I just need to have this up all the time. Lots of really valuable information. If nothing else, for this chart in log scale, showing BTC Treasury stacking paces. H100, again, very fast. Smarter Web in red here, beautiful pace. DDC in pink, starting to slow down. Don't love that. ANAP is looking good here. There's way too many of these with this slightly blue color. It makes it like impossible to read them. But doing all right, doing all right in here. But there's some good growth rates. Concilium isn't even on here. MicroStrategist, you got to get that going. Looking at Metaplanet here, again, just a beautiful pace going straight up. And then XXI started real high, and I think they're going to be aggressive too. But and that's going to be the integration, I think, with SEP, right? 107,430 guys, 430, looking good. We still got 18 minutes until the bell tolls. But this is a chart. I'm going to reiterate this chart. This is a chart that you guys need to be paying attention to. It is such a beautiful, glorious chart. And again, MicroStrategist, another one of these great guys giving us beautiful charts that save me some time, yo. I love that. And again, he needs to get more stuff added onto here, but it's good, right? It's good. Lots of charts. Look at all the data. Look at all this data, guys. Look at all. We love these kind of people, okay? We need to be kind to these kind of people. These are the people we don't forget about. These are the people we follow. I'm just going to real quickly, I'm going to bookmark that and throw them up in my other chat because I want that. I want to make sure that I'm following this guy and keeping this stuff in front of us so we don't lose track of it. MicroStrategist. Okay, there we go. It's in there now. I'm probably going to do this real quick, guys. We got some. I need to pee. And before the bell here. And so I'm going to jump. I'm going to go live. We're going to put Jim, the loser Kramer, trade against what he has to say. Sometimes he's right. Sometimes he's retarded. He's gotten a little better. But I'm going to play this just for a second. I'll be right back, and then we'll go with round 2 here, okay? 1 second.
Actually could say, no, it's not constitutional. Yeah.
But then do we have an Andrew Jackson moment where he says,
I don't know.
Hey, listen, guys, I love you, but go with the robes, go back to Britain or something. I think that a level of certainty is again, another track. We have NVIDIA, but then we have General Mills. General Mills used to be a great company with solid growth, but it has got a guy, it's the Secretary of Human Health Services.
Yes.
Who doesn't die in food.
No.
Do you know what food really looks like? Do you?
Soylent Green, what does it look like?
No, Soylent Green is actually...
It's not food.
Go ahead, do your Edward G. Robinson invitation. But food looks awful.
It's people.
Food looks like people.
That was Charlton Heston, actually.
The Donner Party, it's a cookbook. No, I mean, look, I just say that when you look at... That was...
I know that one too. Great one.
When you look at General Mills,
to serve man. Yeah.
When you look at General Mills, which numbers were just abysmal.
Again, not the first time.
It's secular. It's like the downgrades you keep seeing in Constellation Brands. Secular. So there are sections of the market that are just uninvestable. They're huge. And then there are a couple sections that are great. By the way, finance is great.
Yeah.
Because of M&A and because we don't...
There's no M&A. You keep saying because of M&A.
Well,
what are
they
you talking about?
outsourced the Justice Department
M&A
to Fredonia. They did. Hail Fredonia.
We're waiting
Justice.
on M&A.
Can you imagine if you were a career?
We've gotten some. If not for Brad Jacobs, there'd be no M&A.
And he offers a huge amount of shares.
$2 billion QXO wanting to raise another $2 billion.
Put a negative piece out from not the long. They don't know that he's Houdini.
Through an offering. All right. Well,
Come on, let's go.
No, let's actually take a break.
No, man, I'm going to lose my voice during the break.
Get your voice back, drink some tea. We're going to wait for the president, of course, to begin his news conference. That will be at the NATO summit. We will bring that to you live. Let's give you another look at futures. 15 minutes before we get started here with trading at the New York Stock Exchange. We are looking for a higher open. A lot more squawk in the street straight ahead.
All right, I'm back. Don't leave me. I'm back. Just in the nick of time. Just in the nick. Let me pull this down. We'll make sure we get the bell going here. Looks like General Mills is a buy. Not really my stock. I love some SBET. Genius Group is up 21% in pre-market. The CEO bought 650,000 shares this week. Oh, okay. All right. Interesting. Yeah, these guys are buying too. There are so many treasuries to keep track of. It's going to be insane. Holy Hood. Is Hood doing all right today? Let's see here. Where's where the Hood at? You guys tell me. I don't even have it pulled up right now. You guys tell me how Hood's doing. Let's look actually at pre-market. Let's look over here. Just at a little bit of this. That is not pre. That is yesterday. Ridiculous. Yesterday Uber was up a ton. And don't get me wrong. I would love for Tesla to go down because I own hardly any. I would love for that to happen. But anybody selling Tesla yesterday and buying Uber is a fucking moron. I just want to throw that out there. You're a fucking idiot if you're doing that. You need to have other people manage your money. I just want to be honest. All right. Hood opening at an all-time high. Beautiful. Yeah, let's see. I can probably try and... Well, you know what? I don't want to get too lost in chart world just yet, okay? Not just yet. Let's go back here some more. But again, that MicroStrategist chart, guys, so beautiful. This is the stuff. The stacking race is the thing I keep track of. Let's go back, though. We've done Metaplanet to death. Let's get out of that real quickly here. Let's jump over to... There's other stuff we're going to look at. BTC's getting its fapping on. Yes, it is. Guys, we're going to have a major breakout. It's going to be nuts. I want to speak to that because there's a bunch of people in Bitcoin miners. I don't want to say because of me because that makes me liable. No, I'm kidding. But probably with some influence, right? Because I was very much into them and people follow other people. That's how things work. I follow other people all the time. So anyway, you're going to want, as we start making lots of money and these guys start screaming higher, I think you're going to want to start slowly closing out your options. Why do I say that? Because of Lance here said S&P call option volume has become completely unhinged. While the speculation is currently working, which is drawing more investors into the scheme, this will eventually have very bad outcomes. Now, I do want to agree with that. So if you look, guys, at option volume, just looking at this here, call option volume, since 2020, it's insane. And this is not just to the long side, okay? This is short too. But this is going to create just wicked amounts of volatility. Lots of hedging going on here. Soxel, people really want to look at the miner thing. We can do that in a second. But lots of hedging going on in here probably too. But this is just ridiculous. It's a 10x in call volume, guys. A 10x in call volume. We got 12 minutes to the bell. That's dangerous. And this will end badly. I do agree with that. So I would suggest that you start to deleverage yourself from options before the end of this year. That's my take. Maybe even in the next several months, if we really take off in Bitcoin and you're in the green solidly on your miners and you're just making tons of money and it's like awesome, just keep chipping away at that bitch and lock in those gains. That's what I'll be doing. And for anybody who's subbed is going to see that. Okay. Yeah, these are crazy volumes. These volumes, guys, and it's long and short. We could look at some of that some other time here, but it's a ton of volume. James E. Thorne, my favorite Canadian, said, well, outside of Tanner, we love Tanner. The question is the glide path to R. Folks we're heading towards an R of 2.75%. Now Wall Street is waking up and at least talking about it. Baby steps. The reputation of the Fed has been damaged for at least a generation. Powell and Bernanke's legacy is toast. So you got Morgan Stanley expecting the U.S. Fed to deliver 7 rate cuts in 2026 starting in March, taking terminal rate down to 2.5, 2.75. I don't know if we get that low, but I do think that could happen. Vivek, said, buckle up. So this is Forbes. Buckle up. Bitcoin and crypto brace for a huge Fed flip predicted to spark a price boom. Billy Bombro. So I agree with that. And then again, just our Fed right now is talking about like survey data with University of Michigan. And I'm sorry, if you look at this data and you're like, oh, this makes sense to me, even though you have nothing showing inflation, and you're like, oh yeah, this is the data we're going to use, you're a fucking idiot. And I'm talking to you, Jerome Powell. Andreas Steno Larson said, if the Fed cuts into this, which watch small caps, I agree, they're getting ready to break out. That'll be something Tom Lee is very excited about. He's been waiting for that one a long time. 107,800 on the Bitcoins. 108 coming in real time, guys. You got to remember, this is a downtrend. If you look in the bottom right corner over here, this is a downtrend that started in May, and we're getting ready to break out of it. So May and June, a month's downtrend, and we're getting ready to break up. We love it. We don't hate that at all. Let's listen to Papa Powell, retarded Powell, talking about how a lot of the Fed chair, or a lot of the people in the Fed are starting to believe that it's time to cut.
A significant majority feels it will be appropriate to reduce rates later this year. And a significant...
About time you said that, bitch. Tony Nash, at this point with crude at $65, it's like Powell is actually hoping this happens. Powell, tariffs likely to push up prices and weigh on the economy. So again, he's saying we should see that stuff, next month, the month after. It's going to be really hard, though, if you don't see signs of that. It's going to be really hard to make that kind of argument and not look like a fool. Again, 2.18% is what we're looking at over here, guys, on Trueflation. That's not heavy by any means. And then again, that just absolute crushing we had in WTI crude, dropping from 75, 76, all the way down to 64, $11 a barrel. People wanted war. They thought thought Trump was a warmonger, and what they found out is he's just strategic and willing to apply pressure on Israel. Israel got everything they wanted, guys. Don't get me wrong. They would love. They didn't get all of it. They want to see Iran and the current regime, the Ayatollah, overthrown, and they want to see a more prosperous Iran where the Persian people and the rest of the country that aren't Islamic radicals are doing better. They want to see that, right? Because these people traditionally have been friends of Israel, and so they want to see this, and I can't blame them for it. But they might not get that. We'll see how it plays out, but at least for now, we're not seeing that. And I think that can continue. But I think Netanyahu's happy because, again, nuclear program set back a decade. Ballistic missile systems, 70% of them probably gone. And then, again, all their intelligence agencies, propaganda departments, just heavily demoralized. They can throw as many celebrations as they want in Iran. They lost badly. And so this is good. This is good stuff. It's really good stuff. Nick Tamaros said Fed Governor Mickey Bowman signals she could support a July rate cut. Should inflation pressures remain contained, I would support lowering the policy rate as soon as our next meeting in order to bring it closer to its neutral setting and to sustain a healthy labor market. Bowman had been very focused on inflation risks through last year. She says she sees tariffs as likely to present a small one-off increase in prices because she expects increased economic slack this year. I've been saying this the whole time. I'm glad you guys caught up. How much did they pay these fucking people? Anyway, let's see. There's a bunch more in here. Let's just keep rolling through. You know what? It doesn't really matter. We'll skip that. I think we're good there. Got about 5.5 minutes until the bell. Let's see what else. We'll go through Trump real quick. Hey, Jesse, could you go over Trump BTC Treasury and take a look at DJT chart? DJTU looks like a massive buy. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. I just think there's so many. I think there's so many. But yeah, we could probably try and do that too. I've got a lot. You guys got to realize there are over 130 Bitcoin Treasury companies. They're not all the same. I can't keep up with all of them. I can't keep up with the macro. All the stuff going on in Bitcoin and the crypto world. The fact that we're almost at 108,000, probably just in a second here on Bitcoin. And then keep track of technological innovation, artificial intelligence, all the other demographic data that I need to understand, what's happening with geopolitical concerns around the world, with trade routes, with potential of war, and keep up with every Bitcoin treasury company that you guys want me to keep up with. I just can't do it. I just can't do it. Maybe some cloning, maybe a little bit of AI Jesse in the future. Then it'll be easier. All right, this is what I wanted you guys to hear, though. This is the head of NATO talking about Donald Trump. Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte. You guys got to hear this.
Let me first, before I go to spending, I just want to recognize your decisive action on Iraq. You are a man of strength, but you're also a man of peace. And the fact that you are now also successful in getting this ceasefire done between Israel and Iran, I really want to commend you for that. And I think this is important for the whole world. Then on spending, it's absolutely true. I want to state here, without President Trump, this would not have happened. In 3 stages. When you became president in 2016, 2017.
So I won't go through all of that, but basically he's thanking him for getting NATO to stand up and start spending in order to be able to secure their own countries, and for creating peace in the world and handling what happened in the Middle East so elegantly. NATO. Trump's winning, man. He's winning on all fronts. I just want to be clear about this. Let's listen to another one here real quick, 41 seconds. We've got about 3 minutes till the bell.
Iran, throughout, since this conflict began, we've been talking to them about having some sort of peaceful settlement. And Iran's one caveat has always been that Israel had to stop its campaign. And once Israel fulfilled its objective, which they did, and once the United States fulfilled its objective, which it did, the total destruction of the enrichment capacity of the Iranian state, then the president was able to go to both parties and get a ceasefire done. And by the way, the proof is in the pudding. No one's shooting at each other. It's over. Iran...
And hopefully that maintains. If it doesn't, it didn't maintain the first day, though. The first day it didn't maintain. Before we get the bell here, you got to hear this. Here's Trump elegantly talking about how much he loved Israel and Iran that particular morning.
We basically have 2 countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Do you understand?
I don't know if you guys heard his French. Such vulgarity. Shameful. I would never say that. Bill says DHS has approved Florida AG Alligator Alcatraz proposal for detaining illegal aliens at an abandoned airport in the middle of the Florida Everglades as the state of Florida continues to assist the Trump administration with deportation efforts. That's awesome. 2 minutes before the bell, California business owner says his restaurant is normally packed in Father's Day. So packed, there's a 20-minute wait. He says because of ICE raids, there's nobody there. Think about that for a second. California is so flooded with illegals, he didn't have a single legal customer because of the ICE raids. And then New York mayor, you guys were talking about this, Zohran Mamdani is an open socialist communist who wants to create government-owned grocery stores in the city of New York to destroy other businesses that are there and make it to where only the government can give you food. This is a disaster. But it looks like these numbers are worse now. He's in the lead over Cuomo. If New Yorkers are this fucking dumb, if you're dumb enough, defund the police, create nationalized grocery stores. If you're this dumb in New York, you deserve what's coming to you. You deserve it. Enjoy it. Soak it up. And if you're still in New York and you don't want that, you better vote the right way. And here's the deal. If you can't, he beat Cuomo. Cuomo conceded last night. Oh, then you guys are fucked. Then you guys are fucked. Sorry, I missed that bit of news. You guys are fucked. If you live in New York, I would get the fuck out right now. I would just get the fuck out. You need to leave right now. Right now. Right now. Get your money out. Sell everything you fucking have. Get the fuck out right now. Gotham City is New York. Yes, it will be. You need to get the fuck out. You need to run. I don't say that very often. You need to run. You need to get the fuck out. Did I say that enough? Hopefully I did. Hopefully you understand. All right, let's get the bell, guys. Got to get the bell. Got to get the bell. Can't forget the bell. Here we go. We're belling here. I'm going to go back 1 second so I don't miss it.
But it's been terrible. Look at the 10 years, Jim. 66%.
Well, they announced they're
Down.
removing all artificial dyes from U.S. portfolio by 2027.
And it was supposed to all the 3G guys. Remember when they were so smart? Before they weren't so smart?
Ooh, Concilium bought.
This is part of the General Mills market. Yeah. Remember, the General Mills market, there's this second-tier retail market, Target.
All right, we heard the bell. I love seeing the NYSE and the NASDAQ and everybody just so juiced up and so many people in there all the time now. It's kind of beautiful. I'm going to switch this over to daily. You guys in chat, throw stuff out if you see interesting things happening. I'm seeing the Smarter Web Company down 11%. I'm seeing Concilium down 35% after doing a large buy. That's kind of interesting. I don't know, where do I have my similar? Oh, I might have my similar in my Robinhood account, which can't buy Metaplanet and these other things. That kind of sucks. How are we doing on Metaplanet? Metaplanet today up 3% in pre. Gotta love that. Gotta love that. Metaplanet and chill. Not too surprised that they're doing what they're doing today. I might sell just a small amount though. Might sell a small amount. We'll see. We'll see. I'm probably going to. Who am I kidding? Because I can't get access to this other. The similar one is on my Robinhood. Robinhood has dick for choices right now, guys. They suck. Robinhood sucks. It is just absolute shit when it comes to being able to get a Bitcoin treasury company. So, unfortunately, it is what it is. Let's see here, though. We got... let's see, did any of that close? Do we know if we closed? Did we close? 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 Nope. Okay. All right, whatever. I might do something else here real quick. Let me see. Ah, it did close. Okay, cool. All right, so let me look here. I'm just trying to see if you guys see any good deals. Throw them out there. Let me know. You bought Metaplanet on Fidelity. Congratulations. Congratulations. Good for you. Coincilium getting rocked, down 40% today, guys. 40 fucking percent. 51 cents. That is just crazy. And try and see what I can get. Oh, that's probably going to close. Coincilium continuing to get rocked heavy today. Heavy. Holy shit. Let's see here. What is it at right now? It was like it was a 0.46 a second ago, guys. Just nuts. Just nuts. All right, so I'm buying a little bit of that. Smarter Web's down 23%. I'm liking that bottom too. Can I buy Smarter Web yet? Let me see here. For a while, I couldn't do it. They were just doing sell only, so I'm trying to see right now. Have they brought it back? Maybe it's down enough where they brought it back now. 4 point... Oh, let's see here. 2,000. I'm going to do this. 2,200. All right. Just looking here. Ah, they only have close only. Son of a bitch. I don't know why Ally's doing that. I've still got to reach out to them and see what that's about. That's bullshit. Hate that kind of trash. So anyway, down. So if you can buy, I would be buying down as much as it is right now. I think that's a beautiful deal. Coincilium's down. I'm looking for Liquid here. How's Liquid doing? Liquid's down today. I honestly like Coincilium better at these prices, though. So let me see here. Trade. I might buy a little bit more. Just 1 second here. Sorry, trying to do a bunch of stuff at once. Let's see here. 15,000. Oh, wow. Quintillium. Oh, no, I can't tell. 0.5. Sorry, almost done with my orders here. Just trying to get a few in. I like to buy when other people are panicking, man. It's what I do. When they're panicking, I'm buying. I wish I could get Smarter Web Company, but I just can't get it right now on my exchange. That one's already starting to see some bounce, though. It's at the 430. Huge amount of volume underneath of it on the Smarter Web. SBET up 4% on the day. Concilium still down 34%, it looks like. I'm going to make sure all my orders closed here that I was trying to get done. Looks like I got a little bit on that one that did not close. We'll see if that happens. Mining is up. What's mining up? CleanSpark up 2.5%. Iron up 3% on the day. And then what do we get for Mara? Is Mara over here too? ASST is up 5.66. Love to see that. Glad I did all my buying the other day. So that's doing all right. And Metaplanet's still up 2.4%. Loving that. Congratulations to the planet. Oh, Mara, I'm sorry, is up 2.4%. And Metaplanet's up 2.76%. So looking pretty good so far today, guys. Looking pretty good. And I did some buying. I bought 33,000, almost 50,000 shares of Quintillium today. We'll see how that one does. But I like that news event where they bought more. I think that's a wonderful thing. It's what we like to see. I'm going to see what else is down today, see if there's anything else I want to purchase. Again, I can't get Smarter Web, or I would. Maybe I'll just have to call it in. I don't know. That's probably the way it is. It's probably call only. Liquid. I already have some liquid. How much do I have in liquid? Oh, I got a lot in liquid. Yeah, I'm doing all right there. I don't hate that at all. Hogpiff. That one's actually up on the day? Or no, Hogpiff is down 3.4%, but I got a decent amount of that too. Not a huge amount, decent amount. I couldn't even buy it yesterday. There's just no liquidity on it yet. Let's see here. I've got BCHXF, the blockchain group. We've got 60,000 in that one. How's that one doing today? BCH is down 3%. What's the market cap on that one? 735. EC, $10. Thank you for that. Let me give you a little heart. Fidelity opens up Bitcoin custody service. Good security, government oversight, smart storage system, trusted brand, regular audits, offers crypto retirement accounts. Things are changing. Wow, dude, you know it. You bought it? What's the ticker symbol, please? Which one? Oh, for coin? It's two different ones. If you're in coin is Canadian, so I think it's coin in Canada. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. And then it's CINGF in the United States in the OTC markets. But I don't know what that looks like for you guys. I don't know. But yeah, I do own a little bit of coin Concilium right now. I own a decent amount. Let's see here. I still got 30,000 in cash. Is there anything else I want to buy today? Tesla's down 1%. Absolute bullshit. Just insane. I don't get it. Yeah, Smarter Web's probably the one I'd be most excited about today. Personally. Quintillium, though, pretty excited about that one, too, not going to lie. Let's see, how's Cypher doing? Cypher's up 1%. Again, those treasuries are doing pretty good, I think. That's going to be a real big theme here. Real big theme. SMCI, God, everything's going up, guys. It's all going up today. It's just crazy. Just absolutely nuts. Let's see here. I'm just going to look. I'm going to look at coin and see what their chart looks like, too. Yeah, that's a pretty big drop. They're only 190 million right now for their cap. I do like that. I don't hate it. I'll tell you that. Huge fees in this one, though. I don't know if I'm paying like an exchange rate plus some other stuff. It's pretty nasty. Pretty nasty on this one. Don't love the fees. I would like less in the way of fees, please. But yeah, I think I'm gonna buy just one more here, chunk, and then I'll let you guys know. I'll let you guys know when I'm done. Should be in just a second. Let me refresh here real quick. I hate it when my screens are slow. Sometimes Ally is like the worst exchange. I need to move more money over. The problem is a lot of the things I'm invested in don't exist in Robinhood, and so all I could ever move is just cash, which kind of sucks. So, whatever. Let me get this post out here. I think it's done. So I did end up having to sell a little bit of MetaPlanet, which is annoying. I'll actually probably post that. Yeah. Oh, okay. It is done now. So I'll just do it right now. So I did have to sell some MetaPlanet. I got, I think an average of about 33, 34% down, almost 35% down on coin Cilium. So I'm digging that. I'll just post it out here. Sold 30,000-ish in MTPLF, up 3% on the day, and bought 35,000 in CINGF, down 34 to 35% on the day. I think it was like 38. I think I bought like 38. All right, so that's what I did. This is all I've done so far today. I don't know if I'll do any more, honestly. I'll let you guys know if I do. I'm going to go ahead and post this on the Discord. And I really do need to update those charts, so I'm going to try and get that done today. And then also get the balance stuff done, too. All right, so we did a little bit of trading. Again, I think there's good opportunities out there. I like both of them, Raghu. I would go Smarter Web Company first with a larger allocation, down 24% on the day, and then maybe Coincilium next with a smaller amount, because again, it's a lower cap. There's a little more risk, but there's also a greater reward. It's up to you. I like diversification personally. Palantir doing Palantir things. Is it up? Everything's up, man. I think that's pretty much a guarantee today. E-Trade, low fees. How much do you have in MetaPlanet? I only have like 1.2 million in MetaPlanet. It might be more than that now. So it's a pretty low amount. I do like the chart on MetaPlanet right now, guys. If you look at the 4 hour, it actually already bounced off the previous trend line. So you can't, or I guess you can see it here now too. If you just go here. Oh yeah, no, this is the 4 hour. So you could see here how we had resistance on the downward trend, and then hit it, support, popped up, been up as high as 1141, up 3.5% on the day. But I do like this chart. I think this chart is amazing. I think their execution is amazing. Again, I've just been dialing into other things because I'm trying to lean into risk right now. I don't know if everybody has that appetite. It doesn't mean I don't like MetaPlanet. MetaPlanet still probably makes up almost a third of my portfolio right now. Maybe it's closer. It's in between, like, it's probably like 27, 28% maybe. Only 1.2 million. Yeah. So it's less than it used to be. I was at 40% plus of my portfolio. And I'm bigger on diversification, so I don't like being 40% plus on anything really, ever. I'd rather be in a bunch of different things that can do really well. All-time highs for Hood and Palantir. Beautiful. Earnings tomorrow. TSWCF is the Smarter Web Company in the U.S. markets. That's the OTC in the U.S. markets. What's your opinion on MSTY, 10% a month in dividends? I don't know right now because I'm not a big dividend guy. Will that be a good thing to hedge into with some of the risk as we go up a lot in regular Bitcoin stuff that have massive multipliers like these Bitcoin treasuries or like the miners? Would it be smart to dial into some of that kind of return along with maybe some TLT? You got to remember, guys, the TLT bond market is not doing well. If the U.S. starts to turn into a sustainable path, an actual sustainable path, something it's not closely at yet, then this looks more attractive to me because I think I could get a 4% yield or close to it. And in a larger amount because I think the bonds could actually go up, but I'm not willing to place this bet. I don't think we've shown that we're on a sustainable course yet. I think we can get there, but maybe it takes a while. So even as washed out as this is, I might apply a little bit of capital to this. I might just keep a lot of cash in money markets that are giving me a 4% yield. Over 108,000 now on Bitcoin, guys. I'm getting close to that 109 breakout zone. But maybe a little bit in this, maybe a little bit in MSTY too, or one of their other offerings like Stride. We'll see. I don't know. I've got to figure a lot of that out. It just all depends. What the markets look like 3 to 6 months from now could be very, very different than what they look like right now. So don't hold me to anything. I might change my mind in a heartbeat. Let's see. How's Coincilium doing now? It's still at about 51 cents, so it got beat down from this purchase. I didn't even look at that news event, too. I should probably look at that. Let's see here. Coincilium. I don't know if that's spelled right. Let's see. No, let's just do this. See if there's any news here. I might have to spell it the right way, too. The buy zone for Tesla is now. I agree. Tesla's really great. It's ridiculous of where it's sitting. Coincilium acquired 15 for a total of 58 Bitcoin now. Where does that put them on the list? Their HODL stack list. Let's look here. This is a little bit outdated again. But let's just look. There's probably a few things that need to be updated on here. So they're at 58. So theoretically, they're up here now to 79. Coincilium was down here, and now they're up here. So this is great. The continuing buys is really great. The more they do that, the better. It's a very smart move for them just to keep gobbling up Bitcoins. Said yesterday Tesla is undervalued here. I totally agree. It's stupid undervalued. I'm just looking for things that give much higher returns over the short term. So that I can own a large amount of Tesla later. It's a retirement stock, totally. You don't need anything else. But yeah, people freaking out and selling here are just dumb. I've just cast one. Oh yeah, this guy, this Scottish holder, he's got 1.8 million shares in Coincilium. It's a pretty big holder. I only have 195,000. So he's got millions of dollars in this thing. You're like 28% Tesla? Cool. Jesse, would you add TSL here? TSLL. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. If you want to get a better return. I just don't understand why it's not going higher. I think you're nearing a breakout zone on Tesla. But again, maybe people are worried about revenues and stuff. I think Tesla starts to break out at least in the next month, if I'm correct about earnings revenue. So maybe, again, not financial advice. I'm just a dude in his basement, but you know what I mean. It's exciting. CleanSpark, guys, up 3%. 3%, guys. The breakout continues. I wonder what Iron's sitting at. Iron is up, let me look here. Iron is up 4% on the day. So this is looking great, guys. We're above the 200 moving average. This is right where you want to be. Resistance kicks in about the 1070 range. If we get above that, it's off to the races to the $12 range on CleanSpark. This is all looking really good. We're going to have a good day, guys. Markets are starting to adjust and get in the right direction. Again, some of these, like the smarter web companies, taking a hit down 23% on the day. I don't know why some of these markets are preventing people from being able to do buy orders outside of phone. That's bullshit. And Coincilium's down 36%, so it's still down under 50 cents. And Liquid is down 25%. But these things will all start to retrace and go higher in the not too distant future, in my opinion. So it'll all be good. Yeah, anyway, I think I'm done for the day. Again, I think just focus long term. I think Bitcoin treasuries and miners are going to start outperforming here. I think these are things that you want to own. Again, just be patient. And if you're buying this stuff, realize that there's some volatility, but it can go up a lot. And yeah, I'm sitting at, I guess, 1.22 million, maybe 1.23 million right now in Metaplanet. So a little bit lower than I used to be, still up almost 60% on that position, almost $500,000 in that position, even though I've sold a bunch of it to be able to go into these other things to reap greater rewards in the future. Still looking fucking good. Anyway, love you guys. Hope you have a great day. Let's do it again. Probably going to do it tomorrow. So I'll see you guys then. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you later. Peace out.